Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to The Foundation. So if you've been with me a while, I'm sure you'll know that I've slowly been doing a few videos in this game sort of in the past. But not really done a great deal of videos on it. I originally did sort of like a trailer on it back when it was sort of first in the closed access. Then I got access to the closed alpha, which was kind of cool, and did a few videos on that. And now very recently it has just gone into early access, sort of open alpha for people to be able to buy on Steam and test. So I thought, well, what better time to have a revisit, see what the current state of the game is. And I was only going to spend a few hours doing this, but I kind of got into the game a little bit more than I thought I was going to. And yeah, but quite a large village and spent far too long doing this, but still, it's been pretty good fun. So kind of what is Foundation? Well, as you can see, it's basically sort of a city building game where you're building like a medieval village. Sort of similar-ish to the Anno type games, if you've ever played them before. I'd say it shares some similarities, particularly in terms of things like desirability and housing levels and stuff, which kind of make it interesting. Obviously, I guess it is worth pointing out it is still very much in development, so there's some things that aren't yet completed and aren't quite right. You know, a few bugs occasionally you notice in the game, like things like, you know, it's still got these sort of core names, image 3, things like that. But of course, this is just because it's still being developed. Once you think it's all fully sorted, I think we can expect those sort of things to be disappearing. So, how does it work? Well, basically, you start with a little village centre, which is I've since built a fountain on top of because I thought it might look nice. And from there, you basically expand out. You know, you're collecting, you're harvesting wood with some of my people over here, some of my lumber camps. I've got a stone cutter over here, which is then going on to a stonemason's hut, which is turning it into proper stone blocks. That sort of thing. You can build your own buildings. Build little fortifications. I'm particularly proud of this little 3-tower outpost I've got going on here in the corner. This is my lookout. I just think that looks really cool, particularly like even the little flag on the top. You can build your own churches, etc., etc. And you see, kind of in the middle of my town, I've got my my keep built here, so like the centre of the town, the central defence that the company will have to run to if they get attacked. We've managed to build a sort of our first outer wall, which is spanning between these two sort of cliffs, which obviously connecting to our defensive network up here. And then we'll probably expand that and sort of block off some of these other excesses and sort of complete the wall a bit more later on. So what kind of makes this different then from some of the other games? Because, you know, there are a lot of games like this. Let's just set these people off moving around slowly. So some of the main differences are in zone deployment. So you don't build houses. You assign areas. It's like SimCity in that way. You assign an area where people can build. So if we click, say, on the residential, you can see the different desirability levels, i.e. people want to live in the town centre. They don't want to live out in the middle of nowhere. So this is why here, these are the really desirable properties up here right in the village centre. But going through around the markets, some of the keep and some of the main central areas of the city is also kind of desirable. But when the space runs out, people are also prepared to live, you know, buttoning up against the castle wall on the outside, and some of the more less desirable sort of rurally areas out here where I've assigned them space. But of course, I don't want them to be building on trying to build on top of my market, so therefore I don't let them build there. And if there's an area you don't want them to build, you know, you can just delete that and say, right, you're not going to build there anymore. And you can knock their houses down if they get in the way of any of your developments and stuff, because of course you're the lord, so you can be brutal and cruel to them. On top of that, the same applies to things like farm fields. For my farms, you assign the area you want them to grow, and they'll plant within that area. Extraction zones for things like trees. So they can extract trees from out here, from these two lumber camps here, and reforestation zones, so where the forester is going to plant new trees as well. And you can also ban people from going to certain areas. You know, if you want to protect a certain area, or you want to sort of force the pathfinding a certain way, you can sort of stop people going to certain areas if you don't want them to. And then hunting zone as well, what we've got over here. So that's kind of how that works, and that's pretty cool in the way that works, because it means it gives us sort of a bit of a more of a dynamic style. You know, I've just assigned this area as housing, and you can see how it's kind of built up, even like on this cliff top, different types, sizes and styles of houses. I like that, and I also like how the natural roads develop and sort of zigzag around the properties that get built. Kind of gives it a fairly natural look that I don't think you'd be able to achieve if you were to place it yourself. I know some people are going to feel like it gives you a lack of control, reduces the amount of micromanagement, which it does, yes, but like, you know, you wouldn't really be able to tell people exactly how to build their own houses. And it's kind of nice not just to have ordered rows of houses. I like how it naturally develops. Some are upgraded, some aren't. I just think that's kind of cool to me. So that's one feature. Another interesting feature is building your own monument buildings. So you get these sort of predefined buildings, you know, stonemason and such, which are predetermined. But when you get to things like churches, you can determine how they kind of look. So if we pause and just kind of do this as a bit of an example, I'm not going to build this yet because I've not got the sort of resources to do it. So you get things like the core of the building. You can pick the height up, down. And we've got various different body parts basically for the building. You can have an extension, all of which is rotatable and clippable. Should probably go on the end. Have a look here. Yeah, looks a bit better. Then we can have like a big tower. Who doesn't want a big tower? Up. And of course, the more you do it up and down, you can see it's affecting the cost. We've got the total cost over here in stone, tools, and wood. Of course, as you lower it, uses less stone, but produces less splendor. You know, you've got all sorts of little things. Small tower, archers. Oh, cool. Don't quite need an arch. We do need a door, however. Rotate. Can't come quite central. Let's have it there. Of course, I think you can turn building snap off. Can, in which case you can place it exactly where you want it. So if you want it in the central, you can do. I kind of like building snap though because it makes it a lot easier to get things to join up kind of more perfectly. And have a cross. Well, it's a church after all, and a bit of stained glass here as well. Look. And there we go. And that's kind of the idea. You can basically pick, choose, and craft your own buildings. You can stick gargoyles on. I'll let you know. You guys can play around with that and yourself. Oh wow, he's a rather sinister-looking guy on top of the church tower. But that is the idea. You can craft and build your own buildings. I'm not going to build that this second, but you know, these were crafted by me. I designed their output. I decided I wanted 3 sort of going up here working like this. He's standing guard. Same with this one here. Same with my little churches around. These ones turned out nicely. This one turned out really quite horrible, didn't it? But there we go. Not perfect. I even built my own little Lord's Manor over here, which I was kind of pleased with how that turned out. So yeah, so it's kind of nice to be able to craft your own buildings. I think that's something that's certainly going to be developed on more. And something that's kind of a cool feature. Something you don't really get in a lot of games, to be able to design your own buildings. A lot of games just give you predetermined buildings, which you know you can always put in. And while this game does have some of that, I like the fact it gives you the option of, you know, picking and designing things that you want them to be a little bit more. So it looks like we've got some new residents moving in because there's some new houses coming up. It's being constructed. Some more wood is coming over now. You can see kind of it expands naturally as you get more and more residents. I've had to put some more farming in down here because we're getting a bit of a food shortage going on. Going to have to deal with. And yeah, it kind of gives you a bit of an overview of the game, really. You have your limited amount of territory here. This yellow line determines the bounds of my territory. You can buy more territory, like the area where I've just placed my church, because I couldn't actually be able to build it without this. It costs 500 and it adds another 50 gold per week to my taxes. So you have to be careful to kind of balance your economy because it's very easy to get overwhelmed. I'm pretty teetering on the edge because buildings have upkeep costs, particularly once you start to have some of the larger buildings like the larger churches and stuff. If you're not careful, you'll soon find that it ends up draining more money from you and you're kind of making in your tax income and stuff. So you do have to be kind of careful to make sure you're balancing things properly. So anyway, hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of what the game is like. Let me just turn that off so we can't see the territory tiles. I like to have them blank. It makes it look a bit nicer. So yeah, they're certainly going to be adding more features in. I think there's going to be more of a military feature added in because there's currently not attacks or anything like that. More features going to be added, more content patches, more buildings, more sort of craftability in terms of the monument buildings and stuff like that. So I think it's got quite a lot of promise as a game to come. Anyway, let me know what you think about this game in the comments down below. I think that's all I've got for you today. Nothing else springs to mind for me to mention, although as soon as I end this video, it almost certainly will. That's going to turn into quite a short video, really, hasn't it? But anyway, hopefully a slight overview. I'm now really waffling, so I shall see you all on the next video. Thanks, guys.